everyone, welcome back to Geeks Not Nerds. Once again, I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
Today, Eric, do I need to hold up a cue card?
Yeah.
And I'm Eric. That's, your line is, and I'm Eric.
It sounded like something was supposed to come after it. I know nothing ever does, but like the way you said it, I was waiting for
I'm Captain Logan. Okay, well, what else does he have to say?
Yeah.
He's gonna say some other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Today, Eric and I are gonna talk about a subject that I have always been leery about and kind of avoid. It's come up here and there, but with some news that came out last week, I felt the need to bring it up. Eric doesn't even know what we're doing today. Today, I want to talk about two things simultaneously, and one we might end up talking about more than the other, although I'm not sure which one that will be. Okay. Today, I want to talk about GameStop, and I want to talk about comic book retail.
Okay.
That's what I'd like to talk about today.
Sure.
Apparently, GameStop is going to start selling comic books soon.
Yep.
And this could change everything, or this could not matter at all. I can see this going a lot of different ways. So I want to talk today about the future of brick and mortar comic shops, of big comic business. Not that there ever has really been such a thing, but what I mean is chain store comic stores versus small mom and pops, because when I made the documentary Midwest in Panels 4 years ago, I made the statement in that there is no Walmart of comic book shops. And suddenly there may be, or it may end up kind of amounting to nothing. It kind of matters. It kind of depends on how they handle it. So I want us to kind of do some predictions today and figure out what we think the future of specifically stores. We've talked about print comics versus digital before, and that's gonna factor into this, I'm sure. But I mostly want to focus on what are the future of the stores, and as long as we have print comics, because we can debate how long that's gonna go, whether the monthly singles go away, and if we eventually just have comics online and then they get traded later, or if people just aren't even really bothering reading physical anymore. I suspect that ultimately really never happens, at least entirely. We can debate about that, but as long as people are reading physical, where do they buy them? And that's the question I want to answer. Today.
The big thing that I think is exciting about GameStop, well, two potential things. The big one for me is that it could be a return to newsstand comics. So one of the things with comics is we always talk about how little comics sell versus what they used to sell, right?
Yeah.
The big change is that you used to walk into grocery stores, you used to walk into like supermarkets and things, and they had comics.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. We cut off all of these different revenues. Now, part of that is because as comics got more adult, it got a little bit more controversial. There was a big one with X-Men and Walmart. Someone complained about an Emma Frost cover and things like that.
You also could. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but there's also the question of whether or not they would even be selling if they were there right now.
I think they would.
Boy, I don't know. I mean, like
with the movies in theaters. I think more kids would read comics if they were readily available.
I would love to see the numbers in places where that still happens, if there are very many places where that still happens, because I don't know about that. It's a good question. I mean, they don't fly off the shelves at Barnes & Noble. They don't.
That's fair.
People aren't buying singles at actual bookstores, and even when they're real close to the door and right up in front of people, and I don't know if they were at a supermarket if you would really see them get picked up, but I don't think as many people even go down the magazine aisle anymore. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Now
I don't know. I have a hard time. Yeah,
spinner racks at gas stations more so.
Yeah.
And you used to see more of that.
Yes.
But I suspect the main reason that stopped was because, like baseball cards, people just stopped buying them.
That's possible, especially with the boom. But I have a hard time believing.
Again, it's a kid's issue, right? Yeah. Adults aren't going to walk into a gas station and necessarily even that buy comics and necessarily think to buy a single issue because they have all their stuff on the pulls.
Yeah, it would help if we had more all ages. I'm not talking about kids' comics. I'm talking about comics that you can sell to anyone.
Yeah.
But I think there's a potential for a real upswing, and this could kind of change the game as far as comic sales go, at least for Marvel and DC. I think that's potential. I think that's on the table. I also think it's potential. I also think it's possible to reach markets that you're not currently reaching. Kids specifically, but in the interview that I read about with Christopher Priest, where he was talking about Black Panther, he was talking about how, like, the urban market isn't going into a comic book store.
Right.
And
they might not even have one close to them.
Yeah, but they are going to GameStop. GameStop's everywhere.
Yeah.
You could get people that love Black Panther, go in, see Black Panther comics, and buy them. You can have that for any of them. Marvel's ridiculous model for the past 10 years might finally make sense in a GameStop. Ant-Man's coming out, so we have to make sure we have an Ant-Man comic. That doesn't make sense to comic readers.
I'm looking closer into detail on this, and they're putting it on classic spinner racks.
That's great.
That's what they're going to do.
That's great.
That is the plan.
Now, the question is...
And they're going to do it in some test stores first. They're not going to do it
They're doing 20, I think I read.
Is that what it... Okay.
That's what I think I read, was they're testing it in 20. And
that's smart, too. So they're not immediately trying to take over. They're going to see if there's enough interest to even start doing it. It's what Coke did with Surge.
Yeah. The big question is, will they have pull lists?
Yeah.
And will they be able to manage that?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they're not interested. Maybe they're interested in being the newsstand.
Yeah. So I like this if it's just the newsstand. I like that. I like that comics might be available in more places, because that actually helps the brick and mortar comic shop. That helps your small town comic shop, because they're not going to keep going back there for every issue. They might not stock every issue. They might not stock other issues that were advertised in the book you read that you're interested in. But you look up, Elite here in Overland Park, and he's got everything, and he can order everything.
Yep.
And then they'll start shopping with him. I think GameStop could actually be a boon to comic book stores. That could be wonderful.
I agree.
Here's how they could put everybody out of business.
Yep.
If GameStop, but I think their stores would have to be bigger. I actually don't know how they could do it with the size they are now, because if you walk into a GameStop, and this was a problem even when I worked there 10 years ago, I used to work for GameStop, and they had, they were already overly crowded. And this was before they were selling all the novelty stuff. Now, some of it was because back then we still had PS2 at GameStop, and PS2 had 600 titles.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of sucking out the space. You don't have that anymore. Like the closest thing you have now is Xbox 360, and it's not it doesn't take up as much space. But anyway, I don't know how they could fit as many books in, but they still could do pull lists, right? Like they still could just order enough for the people who have pull boxes, and then enough for the spinner racks, and it wouldn't have to take up space. So I actually think they could still put most small comic shops out of business, even without a wide selection. And the way, or at least they could hurt them hard. And the way they do it, because like the bigger stores that still have a whole lot of trades, they'll stay open, and they might have loyal pull customers for long enough that they can still keep their doors open, right? But the way you put a lot of stores out of business, and I don't want this to happen.
Because there'd be no reason for anyone that already has a pull list to all of a sudden be like, yeah, I'm not going to have my pull there anymore. You know what I mean?
There might be.
Okay.
If they do what I'm about to say.
Okay.
You make sure that you have pull lists. You bag and board everything, 20% discount.
Yeah.
You put a lot of stores out of business.
Because a lot of stores don't do bag and board, and a lot of stores only do a 10%.
It's only 10%.
Discount.
All they have to do is up that discount.
That's true.
And GameStop could afford to more than most other companies, and I don't think they're the billion-dollar company they used to be when used games were as big as of an industry as they were. But I still have to assume that GameStop is a big enough company that that they can get Diamond's new biggest account, right? And get the biggest discount they can get. But also, even if their discount is just 50%. And I don't know if it's possible to get a higher discount than 50%. I actually don't know that. But let's say that they have the standard 50% retail discount on the books. That means that on a $4 book, they pay $2 and they charge you $4. They can afford to only charge 30 or 40% markup over a lot of small comic shops that must have that 50%. And that they could become the Walmart of comic shops.
Yeah. It could change the game, or it could just fizzle out. Or
it could not change the game that much, but be actually a nice thing for consumers.
Yeah. But, so, it sounds like...
I'm not negative on this, necessarily.
No.
Necessarily.
No.
Now, I hate going into GameStop. And maybe
And
we
I
should
don't
make that
trust their staff to run a pull list if they do that.
No, me neither. And maybe this should be the second part of this conversation, because and maybe I should have just made this my rant today. I do want to talk about some qualms I have with GameStop here in a minute, but we can talk some more.
Sure. Where was I going with that?
Sorry. So you said that GameStop would not be the place that you would want to get that you wouldn't want those employees to run a pull list. That was the thing you said.
Well, that was
you were
what I was
talking about
going
something
to say.
before that?
Yeah, what was I?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
What was I saying? Something was GameStop and comics and.
Forgive me, I'm not sure.
I do not recall now.
I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. The spinner rack thing is cool, and it might be cool if other stores followed suit after that.
Yeah, and brought back the spinner rack.
Hastings killed themselves.
That's what I was gonna say. So it sounds like
I thought I'd just start throwing darts, just things I thought you might want to talk about.
From the article, it sounds like the guy that brought comics to Hastings is now working at GameStop and is doing it at GameStop.
Oh,
and he said.
Is that what's going on?
That's what it read like to me.
Okay, interesting.
Or it's someone looking at the Hastings model. But I thought it said...
This wasn't the guy who ruined the company, though, is it?
No. Because
there was kind of one guy who ordered too much and got them too big for their britches and helped destroy that company.
Well, I heard it had something to do with... He had a second company that made fixtures. And
I heard
he reordered fixtures every 6 months to keep his other company in business.
I don't think that was all of it.
I mean, fixtures are expensive. You're redoing an entire store.
I know, no, that's true, but I don't think that was the only mistake he made.
Yeah. No, it's not that guy. But this guy said that while everything else was dying, the comics were profitable at Hastings. It was one of the only things they still had that was profitable. Which is why they're doing it they're trying it at GameStop.
Every small town that had a Hastings didn't have a comic shop. They did it right. Vintage has not done it right. Vintage has put no comic shops out of business. And I'm not saying that I want to see small shops go out of business. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about local business. I'm just saying that obviously there are few bigger advocates for comic shops than me. I mean, I made a whole documentary mostly just to encourage people to go into comic shops if they thought that they were just still dingy wastelands. There's wonderful comic shops to go into, and if you're a kid or you're a woman and you like comics, you should go into some of these comic shops.
And you can now.
And you can. That's what I mean. And you can now. Yeah, they're friendly to everybody. But from a business perspective, I'm looking at vintage stock, and I'm like, you guys need to get out of comics. I'm looking at some companies like that, and it's kind of sad, from the business perspective. But anyway,
yeah, apparently it either is the Hastings guy, or they're looking at what Hastings did, and that's why they're trying this. If they do it right, it could be a big deal.
Yeah.
Even if they don't. Because here's the thing: if they do pull this, they have to be on top of it. They have to do it right, and they could be an account big enough to hold Diamond accountable.
Yeah, maybe so.
That's a big possibility. Is Diamond's biggest accounts are mostly the biggest comic shops,
the biggest small comic, or you like small town comic shops.
Yeah, or
independent comic shops.
Yeah. Those are huge comic shops. Those are their biggest things. This is a company.
Yeah.
A nationwide company, which is also a thing. Is Hastings had a region. A lot of the companies that have tried comics are more regional. GameStop is everywhere. As far as I'm aware, GameStop is the whole country.
And a lot of other countries too.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the countries in the list of for test stores was New Zealand. I mean, they have.
Oh, interesting.
They have a lot.
That's great, because those guys, it's real hard for them to get comics. I don't know if you've ever heard how hard it is to get comics to Australia.
Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, it's hard to. Absolutely, it is.
But no, if they do pull lists,
real quick. Also, Barnes and Noble has to be a big account for them.
Yes, but that's trades.
They send everything, but they're able to send everything back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's a thing with that.
I mean, it's basically like a library. The way they run that.
Wait, are they?
They don't take any risk.
Are they with Diamond?
Well, maybe they're not.
Because
I'm assuming they would have to be for some of the things they get, but maybe not.
I know that there is a secondary company that is not Diamond.
Just for trades?
Not for trades, but for the singles.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I heard about this or looked at this.
Okay, but then they would have to get it from Diamond. if there's not any other place to get trades.
I don't know where you get, like, does Amazon order their trades from Diamond? Or do they order their trades from Marvel and DC?
Directly from the houses?
I don't know. Like where does Amazon get trades?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good question. I guess I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's the thing we should research.
We
I
should.
would like
we
to know
should,
the answer
yeah,
to
we
that.
should look into that.
I would have put it on the list of questions at Midwest if I had thought of it, because I'm sure those guys know the answer.
But
to
I
that.
am pretty sure, because we always think of Diamond as the only comic.
I bet William knows that.
We should ask him. I know that the Diamond is. Well, we always think of Diamond as the only comic account, but there is another comic distributor who distributes specifically to bookstores single issues, and mostly it's the Supermans and the Batmans and the things. It's the big titles, and with less consistency, which is why you'll walk into a bookstore and see like, oh, that's like 3 months old.
Yeah.
Because I'm not concerned about that. They don't have pull lists. I would imagine Barnes Noble orders from them, but I don't know.
Okay.
At least for their singles.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's really interesting.
This is a thing that I knew at one point and am half remembering.
Neither Eric or I should put in this disclaimer, works for GameStop anymore. I once worked there. I don't anymore. So I don't think it is...
And I won't buy my comics there because I don't buy individual
issues anyway, but it is not in any way disingenuous for me to criticize them now. GameStop has a philosophy about selling that I do not now, nor will I ever understand. I didn't get it when I worked there. I don't get it now. And it is very anachronistic to their current business model. They have a massive identity crisis. GameStop now.
Well, we were talking about this when we went to GameStop like a couple of months ago. You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where we were like, oh, they're not even GameStop anymore.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they've gotten into toys and novelty items, and that they're getting things from distributors that aren't sending things to other places. You know that, I'm sure that a lot of and this is another thing we could talk about too in the little time we have remaining, the Toys R Us thing.
Yeah.
Because accounts that Toys R Us had that were selling to them, if not exclusively, mostly to them, have got to be going to GameStop now, I would think, for some things.
Mm-hmm. Were the Toys R Us
Target,
exclusive
Walmart,
pops?
and that kind of thing. But yeah, yes, there certainly were.
Okay.
But GameStop is carrying some things that I don't see any other place except for maybe Amazon sometimes. And so when I say they have an identity crisis, you're right. They're not just games anymore, but they make a big deal out of kind of acting like they're still just games, even though they have all this other stuff. I don't think it's a problem that they sell other pop culture related merchandise with the video games. I don't think that in and of itself is what gives them the identity crisis. I think it's crowded in there now because the stores are as small as they are, and they were never meant to house that much stuff. And I'm surprised that they haven't started getting back, and maybe some stores do, because I know at least 10 years ago they still had SKUs for this stuff. Maybe they don't anymore. But I'm surprised they haven't tried to get back into retro and try to put companies like Vintage Stock out of business and do those kinds of games. But anyway, I don't think it's just having the novelty stuff that gives them the identity crisis. It's that they still treat you when you walk in like you know exactly what you want, and they're trying to get you to reserve games, and it's all about what system do you have and that kind of thing. And their attitude is not conducive to browsing. It's really they seem very standoffish.
And they will keep buzzing you.
Yeah, and it feels like they want you to leave. It always feels like they're trying to run you off. That's not the intention of the employees, but it feels like the attitude of the company. And having worked there, in my opinion, it was the attitude of the company. I won't get deep into this, but their ideal seemed to be, people might not think they know what they want when they walk in, but they do, and all you have to do is ask them a couple of questions and get things in their hands and take as much money out of their wallet as you can and then send them on their way. I don't have any problem with upselling. I don't have any problem with mutually exclusive business. We help you get what you want, and we get what we want. I have no problem with that. That's the nature of business. What I do have a problem with is harassment, and I feel that way when I walk into GameStop. It's just how I feel about it. And obviously they have a reputation for this. Now would be the time to fix that reputation and curb it. They need to tell their employees to stop asking 60 billion questions when you walk up the counter and let people just buy things, especially if they don't have a game in their hand. If you walk up with a T-shirt, they should just sell you a T-shirt. They could maybe try to upsell you with other things. Did you know we have socks? But but it's kind of
to go with your T-shirt.
And they could, yeah. I mean, that's a silly example. They might. That is a silly example. They might. Like, I could kind of see maybe at the counter saying, just so you know, here's a list of games coming out for whatever system you have. You can take this with you and take a look at it. That I don't have a problem with.
If I walk up with a Destiny T-shirt, don't try and sell me Destiny 2. Chances are I have it. I'm buying a Destiny T-shirt.
Or you already knew about that. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is they treat you like you don't know anything, and the majority of people that are actually buying games there, unless it's clearly a casual gamer like, you know, a little kid, and even then, you know, he might know everything. But
a kid's mom.
Or a kid's mom, or like a 65-year-old guy or woman, anybody. It doesn't make a lot of sense to pretend like the people... This is turning into a rant. It doesn't make sense to pretend like the people bringing up games there don't already know things that are coming out. And I just find it really off-putting. And especially when you have all that novelty stuff, let people browse. You've become a store where people aren't already going to know everything that's in there when they walk in. You keep restocking different things all the time, and now you're going to have comics. This is how I'm going to wind it back around. You're adding to that. You're turning yourself into a place that's a little bit more like a Target or a Walmart, where people should be allowed to browse and look around, or more like a comic shop, where you're going to have all kinds of cool stuff on the walls.
Yeah.
Some people are going to walk into a place like that just to see what's there, and they might not even be there initially to buy anything. I'm not saying that people that work at stores like that should never talk to their customers. That's not what I mean. But I can't walk into that store without somebody bothering me every 3 minutes. I can't look at anything.
And it's there being like, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Is one thing. Or is there anything you're looking for? Is one thing.
Yeah.
Just like throwing darts at a dartboard, where it's just like, "Hey, are you excited for the new Spyro games? Did you know that they redid Crash Bandicoot?" Like,
it's so thinly veiled. We're not having a conversation. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's nothing against the employees necessarily.
Yeah,
but they're being told to do that.
No, I'm complaining about the corporate mindset.
If you work at GameStop, we're not going at you.
No, we're not.
Although be a little bit more engaging, you know.
If you own GameStop, we might be a little bit.
Don't act like you're just dying to leave.
If you own GameStop, you're probably not watching this video. But if you are, we might be going after you.
Am I wrong? GameStop employees.
What about?
They always look like they're about to like fall over.
Yeah.
Like they do not want to be there.
Yeah, and very often
GameStop employees, I think they're interchangeable with like McDonald's employees.
Yeah, which is really sad, you know, because I mean that should be a more laid back environment. And like I sympathize, I worked there, but yeah, a lot of the time
Walmart employees,
they look scared to talk to you because even though not everybody, but a lot of people there look scared to talk to you, especially you're like 22-year-old kids that like just got there, right? They've been told the opposite of what they've experienced. So they are experiencing people thinking that they're off-putting, and they're told, no, you're not, this works. We went to college for this stuff, we know. That's what it feels like. It's really problematic. Anyway, we're over time. Final thoughts about the comic thing? I wanted to tackle on the GameStop thing.
I think it's exciting, potentially. I love the idea of spinning racks.
Yeah.
My big thing is, I love the idea of it reaching people that don't go to comic shops.
Yeah.
Specifically kids
and other countries.
Yeah. Other countries. But yeah, just people. People that go see the Marvel movies that play video games, because everyone plays video games. But wouldn't think to go into a comic shop, that maybe just see something like, maybe I'll pick this up.
So and then the comic companies, this won't happen, but following suit should drop the price.
Yes.
You know, because if those books went back down to $2, we might be able to change the tide where it no longer is true that when comic movies come out, they don't sell comics. Maybe they would a little bit.
Also,
I don't know if it would be significant.
If this becomes bigger, if I were Marvel and DC, I would move back to a less archy model. I would stop decompressing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you buy one issue. Even if it's at $2, I would do that. Yeah. Because you buy one issue and you're either lost or not enough happens. Because as I've said a million times, when I was a kid, I was never all that concerned with if I was starting in the middle or beginning or end of an arc. I
read Nightfall completely out of order. I read Death of Superman completely out of order.
I was entertained by the one issue I had.
Yep. And some of them I would go back to. Other ones I didn't.
Sure.
Just the single issues.
And you might go back and never know the rest of the story.
Yeah. I read Batman 500 so many times.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got a real shiny cover. It's cool. He beats up Bane with his razor fingers. But yeah. Yeah. If I was a writer at Marvel or DC and this started happening, I would move to a more. I'm not saying you can't have running plot threads. When you go back to 70s and 80s comics, like, it's just one long story in a lot of ways. It's just a bunch of moving subplots. But I would definitely move to as much bang for your buck as you possibly can.
Yeah, more comics still stood on their own better, and at the very least, they took longer to read, and there were more scenes, and it felt like more was going on. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and move on now to rants. And Eric, what would you like to rant about today, sir?
So my rant is going to be about McDonald's breakfast.
Okay, cool.
Originally, it was going to be about, I thought about maybe just doing fast food breakfast, but I realized most of the issues I have are with just McDonald's. Everyone else, just stay open later. Just serve breakfast later. That's that.
Yeah, at least McDonald's does that now.
Here's the thing.
No, wait, are you going to get into the whole thing about how they don't have all of the breakfast food all the time? Because we've actually ranted about this before.
No.
Okay.
I'm not complaining about the fact.
That's gotten better, by the way. I think you can get sausage biscuits here now. It was regional where in some places you couldn't, in some places you could.
Okay, that's not my issue. My issue is, so they make this big deal, they're doing breakfast all the time.
But sausage biscuits at 3 in the afternoon, am I right?
So they're doing McDonald's breakfast all the time, right?
Yeah.
It's a big thing. And it was a whole thing where they used, and this is why I'm not going to complain about this with any other company except for McDonald's.
Okay.
They used, like a lot of McDonald's didn't actually have room for this because you're using different equipment. And you would move, so like, you're not making French fries, so like you'd move, that over here, and you'd be using the breakfast stuff, right?
Yeah.
They must have figured it out so that they can use both, right? Because they're doing breakfast all day.
Yeah, of course.
Why can't I get a hamburger at 9 in the morning?
Okay.
Why don't they have...
That's fair.
Great, you're doing breakfast all day? How about you be McDonald's all day?
Your menu be all day, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I think it's ridiculous. And because they do it all day...
There might be a good reason, but then if they figured out one side, why not the other? And if you work all night, like if you have a different kind of schedule...
Yeah. If you're a third shift person.
Yeah.
I have this with this is why I won't complain about this at like Taco Bell or Burger King or something like that, because
that they didn't make it that they didn't do the reverse of it. That never occurred to me.
Yeah, and it's fine with the other restaurants because they do breakfast and they do the rest of the day. McDonald's does breakfast all day, but doesn't do McDonald's all day, and that's ridiculous.
That will change at some point.
I hope so.
I would imagine.
I mean, not that I go to McDonald's all that often.
Yeah,
but
I don't eat there at all anymore. But.
And then side mini rant for the McDonald's breakfast. Why is a large orange juice about this big?
And why is it like $5?
Yes!
It's like $3. But orange juice at McDonald's is hella expensive.
Because when I do get McDonald's breakfast, I tend to get an orange juice with it.
Yeah.
But then I get angry with myself. I'm like, I should have just gotten a soda because it's like this big. And this is a large. It's ridiculous.
Sausage biscuits, the taste combination of sausage biscuits and orange juice. Am I right?
Yeah. And just
I haven't eaten there in a long time, but I remember that tasting really good.
I get that here's the thing, because soda costs nothing. It costs 5 cents every time someone runs a soda fountain.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So they are literally stealing your money, charging you $5 or whatever. Yeah, we all know it. Every restaurant ever is stealing your money when it comes to soda. If you pay more than...
To be fair, McDonald's still most of the time $1 any size. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Okay, that's fair. But they're making like almost 100% profit on soda.
Yeah.
So
the orange juice is more expensive, but
the orange juice is more expensive. It should offset.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, no,
right?
I agree with that.
You should take the loss on orange juice, because how many people are actually ordering orange juice? because you make so much money
in
on
the morning,
soda.
quite a lot, but not relatively. Yeah, no, that's a great rant. I totally agree with that.
Okay.
My rant, believe it or not, we did not plan this, is also about fast food.
Oh, interesting.
My rant, I just need someone to explain this to me. I don't understand it. I have been annoyed about this for months. It never occurred to me to talk about it. Jurassic World is coming out, and Dairy Queen got Jurassic World again.
Okay.
And I kind of thought that another company might bid on it harder this time because that movie was huge, and I was like, oh wow, Dairy Queen got all the Jurassic World stuff, and that movie broke records and stuff, and McDonald's was probably like face palming, and then McDonald's doesn't get Jurassic World this time. I was really surprised by that. But
maybe
anyway,
they also saw the trailer.
so I was, maybe they did. Maybe they saw the backlash, the blowback. They were like, yeah, we're not going to bid that hard. Maybe they made Dairy Queen pay for it.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Dairy Queen and Burger King and all the other places that might have bid. Dairy Queen, I just bring this up because I saw a Jurassic World commercial for Dairy Queen, and they still have the stupid slogan they've had the last couple of years, and I don't know what it means, and it's dumb, and I'm tired of these stupid slogans with these different restaurants that it doesn't mean anything, but they keep using it anyway, and they just jump onto like trends and stuff. Do you know what their slogan is? Their slogan is, it's not fast food, it's fan food.
Oh, I have seen
What does that even mean? What is fan food?
That only makes sense.
Explain it to me.
Hold on. That only makes sense if you're like a comic shop slash restaurant.
So it's like, I'm a fan of Dairy Queen, so I eat their food, but even if you could say that and it's a stupid sentiment, it still is fast food. This is a false equivalency thing. Even if I knew what fan food was, if you are that, it doesn't make you not fast food, right?
Well, it's because they're getting...
So, A, what does it mean? And B...
It's because we're getting away from the word fast, because we're not that anymore.
Oh, yeah, but they are, though. Like, Dairy Queen is still a pretty quick restaurant. Like,
I don't go to Dairy Queen.
yeah, but I mean, like, whenever I've eaten there, and I do still go there for ice cream some. I don't eat the food there because I don't much, because I don't eat fast food very much. But I have occasionally had a hamburger there, but very rarely at this point. But Dairy Queen is as much fast food as McDonald's or any other place. It's not like they're fast casual. It's not like they're that like middle ground between fast food and
it's not
restaurant.
like Chipotle or Five Guys.
No, it's not. But that is fast casual. What I'm saying is even beyond that model, because the fast casual model is you get to decide what exactly your thing is made of, or sorry, you go down a line and you pick all your stuff.
It'd be more like Panera, right?
But it's not that either. And so A, I don't know what it means. I have no idea. I don't know what fan food is. It's stupid. I cringe every time I hear it. And B, yes you are. So stop it. Anyway, that's my rant.
Is it just Dairy Queen? Because you said it was a... Oh, I guess it was just also a fast food rant.
Yeah, but just also slogans. I can't think of another good example right now. But you hear slogans all the time that just don't mean anything. And
do you also do fast food ads just kind of wash over you?
Yes, they do.
Have you ever ordered something in a fast food restaurant that they don't serve?
What do you mean?
I once went. So Burger King had this thing. I think they still have it, where they had chicken fries. I was like,
no, they still have that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what those are outside of regular chicken nuggets.
Yeah, sure.
Except for the shape. I was like, I'll try those. So I went to McDonald's and I ordered chicken fries. And they informed me they don't serve those because I'm not paying attention. I don't know what restaurant
it is.
Fast food.
That's hilarious. That's a separate issue. That is really funny. No, I feel like they're trying to create some kind of a manufactured generic trend or meme or something.
No, that's absolutely what they're doing.
Fan food sounds like an internet something.
I guarantee you there's a hashtag fan food, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That must exist.
Of course. Well, anyway, that's going to do it for Geeks Not Nerds. Thanks a lot for watching. We're going to go on now to the next segment. And as always, if you want to help us out, support the show, go to patreon.com/Geekvolution for just $2 a month. You can get more of me and Eric rambling twice a month, uncensored, with sometimes a little bit of swearing and talking about adult topics that we wouldn't usually bring up on the channel.
And sometimes 20 minutes in, it was nobody swore yet.
Nobody swore yet. We should probably
Curse
do
word.
that. Right. But the show is not just about that. don't worry. And you also get early episodes of Superhero Rewind and Counting Crypto Freaks and even Morphin Mania, which doesn't even begin until the beginning of next year. We will see you again next time, folks that are just watching this video. And if you want to continue on with us on the Geekvolution Omnibus, really stay tuned. We have quite a treat for you next. Eric and I are going to split up the comic vault this time into a couple or three, probably two segments, and we're even going to sandwich some things in between. We're going to start with the with the kind of Deadpool choose your own adventure comic. You are Deadpool. Eric and I are going to be Deadpool. We're going to be Deadpool, Eric, and then we're going to review some movies, and then we'll come back to Comic Vault a little bit later, and we're going to review Frank Miller's Ronin. All of that and more. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I am Captain Logan,
And I'm Eric.
and thanks a lot for watching, as always.